New Jersey outgoing Governor Christie not going quietly into that good night. As a matter of fact, he held a press conference on Wednesday and he took some shots at President Donald Trump, basically showing his bitterness over being removed as the transition chief. For more on this story, here's Ashley Johnson. Ashley, what do you got for us?
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie opened up about being booted as the chair of President Donald Trump's transition team just days after last year's election. At a news conference Wednesday in Trenton, Christie said a significant reason was his objection to appointing Michael Flynn as a national security advisor.
I had serious misgivings, which I think have been confirmed by the fact that he's pled guilty to a felony in federal court.
Flynn, who also served as vice chairman for Trump's transition team, was fired by the president 3 months after being appointed. After reports came out, Flynn discussed sanctions with the Russian ambassador. Friday, Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his communication with the Russian ambassador. Christie brought up Flynn after being asked how he would have run the transition.
I think what folks who were involved in that transition have now painfully learned at the expense of the country is that experience matters. The president's campaign was built on being an outsider who's going to come into Washington and change things. That's great. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But you cannot run a transition as an outsider.
Matt Rooney, the founder of Save Jersey blog, has an interesting take on the situation.
I think a little bit of a see I told you so. Part of it is that since he hasn't found a job, he can't even get a job in sports talk radio right now. Maybe the governor's trying to keep his options open. Maybe he hopes that he could come into the Trump administration in some capacity and help rescue them.
Rooney did go on to say he does believe Christie has tarnished his image to the point where he might not be able to have another political position. In Trenton, I'm Ashley Johnson, reporting for Chasing News.
Thank you, Ashley. All right, let's bring in our A-plus panel to break this down. We're joined for the first time. Welcome, Nusrat Qadir.
Thank you
for
having me.
Very nice to see you. You are the national spokesperson for Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay,
thank you.
Good. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Jeanette Hoffman is here, political strategist. Always good to see you, Jeanette.
Thanks, Bill.
And Bill Caruso is here.
Good to see you, Bill.
So, Bill, I'm going to start with you. You're a Democrat, and you've got a new governor coming in. I think it's very interesting to me that it looks to me like Governor Christie is flailing a little bit as he exits. And he's trying to put that stamp on it and say, look, I know I'm at 14 or 15% approval, but you know, if the president had just hired me, there'd be no issue at all.
The governor's, I think, going through this sort of transition effort now of not being the front guy in the spotlight any longer, right? There's a lot of pages turning and people looking at different things. So he's sort of clamoring for relevancy here in a little bit. And I did think it was a little self-serving in this very wandering, meandering press conference that went on to kind of just throw this one against the wall. I mean, all of a sudden today, this is what we're learning, so it's interesting.
To that point, I mean, here's a guy that you could even at face value attack what he said. I mean, you've got Bill Baroni, one of his appointees, headed to prison, you know, pending appeal. You've got Bridget Ann Kelly, who he thought was good enough for deputy chief of staff, again, headed to prison. Not to mention Sampson. I mean, the list goes on. I don't think Governor Christie has a lot of credibility when it comes to appointments.
Yeah, there's some holes in his story there, I think. But look, this is Chris Christie being liberated. You know, he's on his way out. He's giving vintage Chris Christie press conferences that reporters love because you get 6 news stories in 1 hour because he's, you know, throwing out this and that and talking about pensions. But it was actually a press conference on a vigil for opioid victims.
Nusrat, let me ask you, do you see a problem with politics with some of these leaders? It's all about them.
Yeah.
What about the policy? What about the people who elect them?
It felt like a petty victory lap. I mean, that's exactly what it seemed like. He was grandstanding and he was taking a shot at our president. So,
do you think it was legitimate to take a shot at the president, though?
I don't think that was the time or the place.
Okay, if you were going to take a shot at the president, what would it be based on, you know, Mike Flynn and all these other things?
I think it would be safe to say that there's a lot of things that could have been done better, especially in the transition team. But right now, it felt like a jab and a punch and just trying to seek relevance, as Bill said.
Bill, do you think that Murphy is going to face the same thing now? He's going to have somebody come out and say, see, if you had just, if you had appointed me, because it looks like Murphy is running into a brick wall when it comes to his major policy points.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think what you're
I'm
going to
talking
see.
about marijuana and the millionaire's tax.
He's not there yet, so it's hard to say, well, we're running into brick walls. There's nothing going on yet. Phil Murphy's going to find that running Trenton, right, being the head of the titular head of the government in Trenton is a difficult job, right? You got to build coalitions. You got to build across party lines. You got to build across regional lines. Christie was able to do that, by the way. Give him some credit. He was able to actually manipulate that. There were so many places that Chris Christie could have been critical of Donald Trump, and he chose here in a very self-serving way to do it.
It's all about him.
So, yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be a different game.
I think so. Thank you.